We are covering PvPoke.com and then some other simulators as well, just some lists and stuff to look at whenever we're talking about this. So let's jump back into it. So if we look at the next thing, you have a team builder down here, and this one's interesting. As you get a little deeper, you kind of are starting to decide, okay, what pairs well together, stuff like that. What you can do is put in your team. So let's just do Toxicroak, let's do Venusaur, and let's do, this one's not going to do, we'll do Azumarill. And I don't want Hydro Pump, I want Ice Beam. And then you rate the team, so you can see how many teams it resists. So 12 of 18, the team is weak to 8 of 18. It's strong against these move types, it's weak to these. And you can go through and see, okay, I have Toxicroak and Venusaur are both weak to flying type. And, oh, and they're both, and Toxicroak and Venusaur are both weak to psychic type. So you may want to keep that in mind. What that tells me is I probably need to get Venusaur off my team. I'm trying to think of something that, oh, let's change it to Skunk Tank. And I'm going to run, instead of Sludge Bomb, I'm going to run Flamethrower. Now, there we go. Alright, so now we have a double weakness to ground. So we've got to watch out for Toxicroak, of course. So that is something, I just like doing this because then you can kind of see, okay, I'm weak against these things. This team hits 17 of 18 types super effectively, so that's really good. I do have to watch out, so if I look, like Counter doesn't do well against Bug, and neither does Mud Bomb, so it's going to obviously have a problem with like Venomoth or anything like that. Those are both from Toxicroak, so obviously Toxicroak's going to lose. It's not going to matter in that. But if I look like Flying and Ghost, both of those aren't hitting for super effective. And then Steel, what is that? Oh, Sludge Bomb, Poison Jab. Okay. And those are actually on 2 different Pokemon. So, and I've got Flamethrower, which is going to be good against Steel. So that's what you want to make sure is as you're going through here that you're not putting a bunch of, let's just say, for example, I'm doing, I'll just do something really silly and do like Quillfish, which is, oh, Tentacruel. Just leave it like that. So you can see I resist 10 of 18. I'm weak to 5 of 18. But Electric is going to be a problem. Ground is a problem. And Psychic is a problem. And then I'm not hitting most of them very effectively. Dark is neutral except for Play Rough. Fighting. Ghost. Grass. So Grass, Ground, Poison, I'm not hitting most of them very effectively. And then Steel, I'm for sure not hitting anything. And Water, of course, is resisted by most of those. So that's something. And then here is your battle chart. And let's see. Oh, I'm going against all Pokemon. Hold on. Let me change this. You do have to change that if you are looking at just the Twilight Cup. Re-click, rate the team. It's not going to matter for this upper part of it. What's going to matter is down here, actually. So if we look, Quillfish loses 40% of the time, or 54% of the time. Tentacruel wins 75% of the time, and Azumarill wins 64% of the time. So Quillfish definitely is struggling. So that's the thing here. Quillfish may be losing a lot because of the number of shields. Obviously, you would lead with Quillfish. And then you'd have maybe Azumarill be in your middle spot, depending on what the lineup is. And then Tentacruel would be in your closer spot because you wouldn't want them to have any shields left for you to win. So it's just interesting to look at this. Obviously, this is not a team you'd probably want to run just because it has all the same weaknesses and stuff like that. You do want to try to at least get other things in there because we have a lot of water types. So we're going to be... or have problems with electric and then also with water, and then because we have poison types we're also going to have problems with ground. So that's what this tool can be used for, is kind of build a team and see where you're at. Quillfish, let's run Quillfish, Ninetales with Powder Snow and Dazzling Gleam and Psyshock. And then let's get rid of Azumarill and let's run Skunk Tank in that spot. with Crunch and Flamethrower. So then we'll rate the team. Resist 13 of 18 types, weak to 7. And then we hit 15 of 18 super effectively. You can see Psyshock obviously is not going to be good against dark types. We know that because it is psychic move. And then Steel is the poison moves again. So yeah, that's one thing just to watch out for. Poison, Steel is probably going to be your Maywile if anybody is running one. And then we can kind of come back here. We're still losing a lot with that one. We're winning overall with Ninetales and winning overall with Skuntank. So that's what you kind of want to look at. This gives you a good idea, and then you can dive a little deeper into each of these Pokemon and go into more detail on this. So the final tool I wanted to look at is PokeBattler.com, and it has a good list of they have a ranking system in here, which I think is a good way to at least start looking at different Pokemon. And you can see here, this is for the Silph Arena Cup, and then the Shield strategy is once. So these are just well-rounded. Well, most of the time they are actually fair, like one of the better ones. They're gonna do well against everything. Maybe not excel against a certain, a certain thing. Like it may not excel against Toxicroak in this league, but it will do well against everything else. So that's how it gets this rating. And you can see for this simulations, they've done a whole bunch of simulations here. How many is that? 77 million simulations were performed. And these are the 24 most well-rounded. So we can see Alolan Muck, Umbreon, Skuntank, Quailfish, Drapion, Sableye are the top 6 there. And you can go on down. You can also, that's Shield once, you can change this to Never Shield. So Azumarill, Skuntank, Tentacruel, Alolan Muck. Like that is quite, so it gives you a good idea. You've got Golbat in here that we've talked about before. Alolan Ninetales is in there. It's really going to depend on what you come up against. As far as what you want to use, but this at least gives you a good starting point of where to go, and you can take this in comparison with what we talked about previously in the rankings on the PvPoke.com. So if we go back here, we can go back to rankings. You can also do counters. So what's going to be the best counter other things? So you've got Azumarill, Tentacruel, kind of look kind of the same. There's a Alolan Marowak. I think that is Alolan Marowak is good. I'm just not sure I'm sold on it 100% that it's going to be. I think it has so many weaknesses that it may just be one that, and it's going to cost a lot to invest in. Same with Maywile is going to be a lot to invest in. You can change this again to Shield once. So then Tyranitar jumps up there. You can also see win percentage down here, so 83%, Azumarill's 83% with Bubble Ice Beam, and this is what moves they're running. So, and you can click on this and see, okay, so the time to win is 42.8, blah, and then you can just go through and see what the win percentage is. Ice Beam, Play Rough. Hydro Pump is a lower win percentage, probably because of the shields here. Since it did shield once, it has less of a chance to get to a second Hydro Pump. So that just gives you an idea of how to use this resource. I like to use this one once they've released it, just to give me a good idea of at least a starting point. Obviously, like I said in the previous video, you do not want to run the top six. The top 6 you don't want to run as a team, probably. Because while these are good counters, they're countering something very specific. So Tyranitar is going to be good against countering the counters for Toxicroak. So Venomoth, Alolan Ninetales, also your Venomoth, Golbat, those kind of things, Togetic, those are going to be ones that Tyranitar is going to do well against. However, if Tyranitar comes up against Azumarill, it's not going to do so well. So that's why you wouldn't just run this team straight out how it is. You have 3 water Pokemon. You also have ice. And then you have 2 dark types. So hopefully that gives you an idea of how to use this ranking system in PokeBattler along with the PvPoke.com. Make sure you watch both parts of this episode just so you understand what is why I'm using these resources, and just hopefully it helps you in future ones to not use as much Stardust, because I know that is one of the best commodities that we have, and it's also very scarce and hard to get. So this helps you at least get an idea of how to start, and then you can train your Pokemon from there. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you haven't subscribed already, I would appreciate that. Let me know if you guys have competed already in a cup, and what your results were, and if these videos are helping at all. Thanks again for watching.